Did you know, by the way, that only 2% of female entrepreneurs ever make $1 million? That's the current stat here in 2025. And I want to break through so that that 2% becomes 4 and then 10 and then 20%. If we can help you make more money, we can change the game for generations of women just like us to come. Let's change their narrative. What would that mean for your daughter? And girlfriend, I want to encourage you right now. Your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to cast the vision. A few weeks ago, I had the privilege of sitting in a mastermind room with 30 other women. And we were doing a money mindset exercise that is near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love this exercise. And I'm going to walk you through part of it at the end of this episode because I really, really encourage you to do it. And I want you to understand your own money mindset and the things that are holding you back. But what I took away from that event with the mastermind was that all women, especially the women, we all have these limiting beliefs that can literally stop us, like block us from making our full potential. And as we sat around that room, we had the opportunity to go and we could raise our hand and we could talk about what we learned from the exercise. And it absolutely broke my heart. Y'all, it absolutely brought me to tears listening to some of these amazingly fabulous, powerful, talented women that I was in the room with. Many of them raised their hands and they said things like, I'm afraid that if I make too much money, my husband will be emasculated because I'll make more than him. And so mentally that stops them from hitting that next 2 comma point. Or maybe it's stopping them from hitting that first million. A few of them literally were stopping themselves from hitting that first million because of other limiting beliefs. Some of them raised their hand and they said things like, I don't want to be judged by my family. My mom and dad were blue collar workers, or my mom was a teacher. They never made this kind of money and I don't want to be judged by them. And I sat there in that room and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, my heart bleeds for you. Because why wouldn't you think my parents will be proud of me for making that kind of money? And here's the truth of the matter, and this is part of that exercise. It's understanding what happens in your brain when we start talking money. To me, talking money is phenomenal. I freaking love it. I don't have any issues with it, really. Give me more. I have the right to earn more. I have the right to make more. And yet I also identified some of these limiting beliefs as we went through the exercise. It's important to understand, though, to have that discussion as we start discussing money and start talking to women about how you're going to break into that first million or that second million or that third million, or even breaking past 100,000. Because many, many women, that's the goal, 100,000. And I love that for you. It's not my goal, but I'm here to support you in your goal. But you've got to dig down deep and figure out where your mindset is. So you see, our relationship with money often starts in our childhood. It often gets into the back piece of our brain by the things that we hear those around us say. So if you grew up with, for instance, a dad or a mom who was constantly telling you, oh, we can't afford that. Oh, we can't buy that because of, you might have that mindset that money is hard to come by and has to be protected. And so you aren't spending the money that you need to in your business in order to hit the next level, because every dollar that comes in, you clutch it to your heart like it's going to just dissipate and disappear. Or maybe you grew up in a household that spent money like it was going out of business and then lived paycheck to paycheck as a result. And so maybe that's affected how you think about money. Or maybe you grew up hearing your parents argue about it. Or maybe you were in a divorce situation and one side of the parentage was always complaining about the lack of money coming from the other side. Or maybe, like I did, I grew up with my dad who did really well. He was an insurance agent. We actually had money. And so for me, the concept of having money wasn't a problem because we never really talked about a lack thereof. My dad taught me to be respectful of it. He had me balancing a checkbook to the penny at like age 14. However, there are other things that can stop me myself from making the money that I want. One of the other psychological tricks that can happen that has nothing to do with what you grew up with is it could be a trauma. It could be something bad associated. Personally, for me, you guys know my story by now. I was abducted in my mid 20s as a real estate agent. And so my business coach and I have had a lot of discussions about the fact that almost every time I reach a certain threshold, I tend to blow my business up, start over, derail it somehow. And a lot of that I've come to realize is my own money mindset. Having money and having success isn't always safe. Like that's what I've had to break through in my own brain. Because when I was successful and when I had the income as the young, real estate agent, I was put into a situation where my own safety was called into question. And as a result, my money block is that, oh my gosh, if I get to a certain amount of success, or if I'm too visible on Instagram or LinkedIn and people know who I am and they equate me with having a net worth that they want, that they're jealous of, that they, feel like they can take, I will often back down because there's a safety issue in the back of my brain. So for me, the money mindset block I've had to overcome is not one to do with a lack of money. It's one to do with a trauma that happened in my life around money. And I make that correlation, and I want to point that out to y'all because it's really easy for us a lot of times to sit back and blame our parents or blame our childhood or, say, oh, I learned to not want to make too much money because I always heard the people around me as a teenager like, oh, those people on social media, like they're rich, therefore they're snotty. They're rich, therefore they are an assigned personality trait to it. Or I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be seen as. I don't want to have others think about me. Or one of the girls in my group said, I'm afraid if I'm on social media and I'm making too much money, people will hate on me and literally put bad comments. And she's like, I'm really emotional. I don't want to hear all that. Whatever it is, it doesn't always have to come from your childhood. It can come from what you're seeing as a culture around you. It can come from the trauma. But if you're not making the income that you want, I want to challenge you right now to just sit with it a second and ask yourself deep in your heart, am I not making the income I want because I'm not doing the business like it should be done? Or because I'm not allowing myself to do the business like it should be done because of a money mindset? I'm going to give you a second to think on that because it absolutely will blow your mind what your answer probably is. So you see, a lot of my clients come to me and they want to get stuck in the nitty gritty. They want to know exactly what spreadsheet to use to align the business. They want to write the offer out to perfection. They want me to help them train their chat GPT so that she writes these magical emails because they're like, Joanne, I can promise you I've got a big enough email list. And the reason I'm not making my sales is because no one's reading my newsletter. Okay. I am not saying that the nitty gritty details are not important in the business. I get caught up in them myself all the time. Like tweaking that one website page, it can really make you feel good about yourself. And the truth is, sometimes I have to sit back and say, Joanne, are you spending time tweaking a website page because you don't know what to do next in the business? And that gives you, a little bit of dopamine hit that like, hey, this looks really good now. And are you tweaking the website page because of something else? Are you blocking your own success because you have a money mindset behind it? So here's the exercise that I want you to do. Take this seriously because we can listen to advice and we can listen to people spout off about stuff all day long. But if you don't put some action behind it, my friend, you are never going to get to that next level. You're never going to break through it. I want you to print out a blank check. Now you can grab an image on Canva, you can print it out, or you can go on Instagram, either to the $1 Million handle that we have, or my personal handle, it's Joanne Bolt. And you can type in or DM me 209. That is this episode's number. And I'll give you an image of a blank check to use if that's, where you want to get it from. And I'm here for it. But I want you to print out a blank check. And then I want you to sit and think, what do I want to actually earn? Like, what's that number for me? Is it a million? Is it 250,000? Is it 6 million? And I don't want you to worry about the how, because see, that's what trips us up a lot. We often will look at this check, and I saw this in the room that I was in. So many of those females, and myself included, we looked at that check and we thought, oh, I'd like to write XYZ number, but I can't right now conceive of how I'm going to get to that number. And girlfriend, I want to encourage you right now. Your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to cast the vision. You are the CEO of your world. Cast the vision. Because when you write the vision down, when you create it so that you look at it, it gets in your brain. It opens up your mind to the possibilities. And I promise you, when you're not so stuck in the details of the how, the doors will open and opportunities will come your way. So take that check, and I want you to write down the number, whatever your number is. Don't get caught up on, oh, because here's some of the questions I know you're thinking. Joanne, are you talking about the number I'm going to make in one day or 1 year? Are we talking about your net worth? Are we talking about the total that my company makes in a period of 3 years? I don't want you to worry about the details. What I want you to do is just think, I want to make XYZ. So for the purpose of this podcast is called the $1 Million Breakthrough. What if your number's 1 million? What if it's 2? What if it's 3? But let's keep it at 1. And I want you to, in the date, write down the date that will occur by. It could be a year from now. It could be 3 months from now. You could say, no, Joanne, I'm going to bust through that $1 million in 2 years. I don't want you to make it so far out in the future that your brain doesn't actually try to work toward it. I want you to make it within the next 3 years. Because I feel like when we give ourselves a goal that is super high and super far away, you're actually just allowing your brain to go, it's not really important, and not to look for the opportunities to make that goal happen. So write down in your check your amount and your date. You can write in the memo of the check, it's going to be my net worth, or maybe it's specific. This is the royalties I will make when I write my book in 18 months. This is what my number one core offer will earn by X and X date. Or maybe in general, this is what my real estate portfolio will be worth. And I want you to really stretch yourself on that number. If it's super easy for you to write 1 million, make it 2. If it's a no-brainer for you to write 2 million, make it 3. And I want you to make it to where you can't conceive today on the how. Because I want your brain to be wired to start looking for those opportunities. There's a reticular action function that happens when we start wanting something and we start visualizing it in our life. It actually starts appearing everywhere. It was always there, by the way. So think about it. You've probably all heard the example of this is when you decide to buy a car. You may never have noticed that Jeep on the road with all the ducks in the window, my current obsession, until you decide, I want a Jeep. I'm going to buy a Jeep. And the next thing you know, every third car that you see is the Jeep. It's because you've now told your brain, I'm going to acquire that. This is the goal. And so your brain starts letting you see all the stuff that's kind of blocked out from your vision. So when we write down on the check, we're going to make that $1 million. Your brain activates into those side peripherals on, okay, how can we make this happen? Where can we find the opportunities? And this is a really emotional, for a lot of people, exercise to do. So maybe go back and re-listen to this episode and, sit by yourself, sit on your back deck with a cup of coffee, go to where you journal in the morning, take it in your earbuds with you on your next walk, but make sure you take that check. It's really, I can't emphasize this enough. Make sure you print the blank check out and then fill it out. Here's the final step for this exercise, also really critical. Now put that check where you see it every day. Because you see, when we take the action to not only write the check out, we've begun the process of telling our mental status, hey, this is the goal. This is what we're capable of. This is what we're going to achieve. But when we put it where we can see it every day, it is that gentle subconscious reminder at all times that that's the goal. It continually rewires the brain that this is where we're headed to. This is what we're going to do. I actually took a photo of my check when I did this exercise a few weeks ago and made it the home screen on my phone. My 14-year-old thinks that this is hysterical because she picks my phone up and she looks at it. And she's like, Mom, this is the worst home screen ever. And I'm like, to you, it might be. But to me, every time now I pick the phone up, I'm forced to look at that check. Do I have any idea where that number that I wrote down is going to come from? Heck no, I don't. But I will tell you my personal experience. When I did this exercise and I let go in my brain of the how, and I just wrote down the what, it mentally gave me permission to step into a new version of me. In fact, you guys are going to see in a few weeks because we're releasing something really big here. And I can't wait. I'll open up the wait list for it soon. Y'all will be the first to hear about it here on the podcast, but it's something that I had actually thought about doing for at least a year and a half. And I just kept finding reasons to not do it. And I kept finding reasons to put it off, lean in on other offers, lean in on other things, help my audience in other ways. And I wrote that check in that exercise and I put it on the home screen. And I came home from the mastermind. And within 3 days, I cannot make this up. Within 3 days of being home from LA, at least 2 different opportunities presented themselves to me that made me realize that that thing I've been wanting to do that I'm teasing you about right now could be a reality. And I can promise you at least one of those opportunities I wouldn't have even noticed had my mind not already been on the, we're going to get here. You can be successful. There's no safety issue. It's time to go. And I got there just by doing this exercise and having that check on my phone every single day so I can look at it. So that's why I'm bringing this here to you this morning, because it was such a powerful exercise for me to sit and think through that. Do I have a money mindset, a limiting belief? What could it possibly be? It had never dawned on me truly that for me it's trauma, because I was always like, no, I don't mind money. I don't mind making it. I grew up with it. It's fine. You can always make more. Okay. But why am I blocking myself from doing the thing that I really want to do? It's my money mindset. Okay. You're going to hear me talk a lot about this here on the podcast. So buckle up, buttercups, because I am fired up to help you past your block, to help you past that money mindset. Because at the end of the day, if we can help you make more money, we can change the game for generations of women just like us to come. Let's change their narrative. Let's make it so they don't have these blocks, so they maybe have mindset blockages that they know how to overcome immediately. I don't want them to wait until they're in their 40s to figure it out. I don't want them to wait until they're in their 30s to figure it out. I want to change the narrative for generations to come so that it is not abnormal. Did you know, by the way, that only 2% of female entrepreneurs ever make $1 million? That's the current stat here in 2025. And I want to break through so that that 2% becomes 4, and then 10, and then 20%. So that we change the narrative for the generations to come. What would that mean for your daughter? If you took the time today to do this mindset exercise, write your check, and then start going toward that bigger number with confidence and faith that it's going to happen. And the knowledge that you've got someone like me in your corner who will help you figure out the nitty gritty. You want the spreadsheet? DM me. I've probably got it. You want the help? DM me. I've probably got the resources to tell you where to go. I've done the things. I've built the businesses. I've got all the tools in my toolkit. Now it's time to break through your brain, because your brain is what's stopping you. It's not the spreadsheet. It's not the email list. It's you, friend. It's that little bitty thing in the back of your mind. So DM me 209. I'll send you the blank check. You can do this exercise too. And even more importantly, after you do this exercise, will you please tag me on Instagram and let me know your new reality? You don't have to tell me your number. This is not like a political thing. Don't tell me who you voted for. You're welcome to send me a image of your check with your number. I will cheer you on. Or just tag me or DM me and say, hey, episode 209 about money mindset allowed me to. And then tell me what your breakthrough is.